bet that brought back. I bet that brought back some memories, didn't it? You're smiling already, aren't you? Be honest. Put a 1 in the chat. Look, I'll just do this. Nissan is a nice motor, and you're smiling. Just Nissan is a nice motor, and that's what we're about around here. We're about good cars, good value for money. You can bring it back if you don't like it. Does the missus come with the? That's right, people. I'm on fumes. As I already explained to the host of the show, Sir Picard, sounds a little bit like, who's that copper that grasped the entire police force up? Played by Scarface. That's a mixture of, that's a third order simulation, if ever I didn't see one. Al Pacino, Serpico, that's it. Serpico. Well, I didn't need to repeat it for you to know it sounded the same, did I? Serpico. I mean, I think if you'd had 5 pints and 2 blotters and someone went, "Oi, Serpico," you'd go, "Did you just say Serpico?" And I'd go, "No, I did not say Serpico," the 1970s police drama based on a true story of, I think, the LA Police Department that was totally corrupt. And one man stood at that wicket and he stopped that ball from hitting those bails. Woohoo! I haven't slept, does it show, since yesterday's stream. This is what happened. So I finished the stream and I thought, right, it's only about 3 o'clock, early. So I finished me mango and sticky rice. Don't worry, the calling will start shortly. I thought I'll finish with mango and sticky rice. So as I was doing that, I realised that was another 40 minutes. You have to sit the already cooked, you don't need the details, but another 40 minutes. I thought, well, that's all right. That's 40 minutes writing. So I got on the writing. And if you're a creative person, and I know that a lot of the scrubs are, not at my like professional history changing level, you're like hobbyists and that, I get it. But you'll know what it's like when you're in the zone. You know, what do they call it? I don't use phrases like this often because they don't come naturally to my more sort of artistic bent. Brad's got an artistic bent. Brad's Substack's worth checking out. I say it every week, but check out Brad's Substack. I say every week. I don't say it every week. I say it nearly every day. But someone will say it. Flow state, and wouldn't you know it? Someone who knows all about it. When you're in that flow state, when you're writing lines, I'm always laughing at stuff I'm writing. Well, not always, when it's meant to be funny, and that's great because if I'm laughing and I know what's coming, that's good. That makes me think that the reader's going to laugh. But I've been shedding tears because there are some very sad moments in this new, as I keep saying, accidentally commercially viable Latus. I still need to talk to you about this novel I'm working on. So anyway, I get 40 minutes in. I'm thinking, I made so much, I overdone it. I had like a bucket of mango and sticky rice, like eating it with a ladle. It's so good. That's the first time I've made my own because the missus ain't here. I've got to feed myself, which is kind of unholy, if in a way. When my missus is here, I just live my normal life, but bowls of amazing food arrive. Like I'll be sitting here working and like fried rice and prawn is just put on the table in front of me that tastes divine. And when I finished it, she's like, "Do you want some more? There's more out there." Brings the wok in, gives me another. Yeah, all right. Few hours pass. I don't even know I'm hungry. I haven't known I was hungry since I was about 5. Since my mum told me to have a sugar sandwich, I gave up on hunger. I just thought, you know, if food comes, food comes. If it doesn't, you know, sugar sandwiches will do that to a person. It's in the psychoanalytic literature. Remind me about that because I've got to tell you something about old Semiagog. So there I'll be 4 or 5 hours after my prawn fried rice, and a baguette will appear in front of me with some kind of meat, crispy, like I think it's pig. You know, pork belly. I think it's probably better than saying pig, but with all these sort of like, it's pickled, but like not onions. It's this other sort of like carrots and this white vegetable and a couple of we call them gherkins, and a couple of like long thin, and that's just put in front of me. Yeah, all right, I'll eat that. And then a cake, and then when she goes, none of that happens, and I'm just sitting there, and I start getting hungry, and I'm like, well, I mean, you know, I left home at 16. I know how to cook. You know, I can cook. But knowing able to, wanting to, and here's the key, stopping what I'm doing to make it happen. That's the problem. If it weren't like, you know, when you're in that flow state, oh, I know what I want to do. Now I can't stop writing some of the best prose I've ever written. I'll stop, get dressed, walk to the market, walk home, heat up a bit of metal, So anyway, I ate most of my mango and rice, carried on writing, got to about 11 o'clock in the morning. I just thought, you've got to sleep. You know, it's Friday, you got to work. And then, of course, work started, because time and tide, I don't know if you know this, but it waits for no man. None. Time, tide, and work. Anyone here who's an entrepreneur, and I know we've got a few in here, and we've got a few successful ones. You know, work never ends. It's not like you can get it done. Like, I'm not taking anything away from a job that isn't entrepreneurial. If anything, trades, I think, are it's about personality type. I couldn't do a trade. I haven't got that kind of. I'm not that sort of person. And some people aren't entrepreneurs, and that's all right. We're different. It's weird, isn't it? I know psychiatry and other horrific liberal ideas have tried to make us all the same, but it never stops. Like, there hasn't come a point in the 20 years since I set my business up where I can go, oh, everything's done. There you go. I can take a day off. It's all done. Because there's always something more you can do, and not just one thing, and not trivial things, not unnecessary things. There's major things that always need doing. When I see these people on telly going, oh, you know, you should tax the rich. I'm not rich, but they're talking about me. I know that much, because they're on welfare. So you know what they're really saying is, tax people who earn money. You know, I just think, hang on a minute, but why should I? Hang on, when I'm working like 16-hour days, why should I give you more money so that you can sit around moaning about people like me on the news? I don't know if that works. Right, talking about money, you can donate via Entropy or buy me a coffee at the top of the YouTube chat. Those links are pinned. And I want to say a very special thank you, because yesterday's grift was fucking dreadful, like heartbreaking. Look, I understand how money works. Don't worry, but when you have a generous show, you feel good. You feel like, well, I feel good after a good show anyway. But when you know, it's nice to earn a few quid. I'm not going to lie and pretend it's not. But obviously, the other end of the spectrum happens as well. I'm like, do people not like this anymore? You know? And then when I went over to buy me a coffee, 4 people had donated over on there, and balancing that out, it just touched me. So I hope the people who did that and buy me a coffee got your videos, because I think I bored all of you by saying, sorry, I've had to take this video about 6 times. There's something wrong with their software or my phone or my computer that I have to take it many, many times. And I answered John Palmer thinking he was someone else. And afterwards, because it took so many takes, I thought, I'll just leave it. You don't mention anything to suggest that you've got the wrong person. But I couldn't do it. My conscience wouldn't allow me, so I had to record another one. Anyway, so Entropy, buy me a coffee at the top, super chat down at the bottom. What am I forgetting? No, that'll do. Those three. I'll tell you what I'm forgetting. This little fella. Hello, son. So, have you seen Mexico?
No.
You're in for a treat. You're in for an absolute treat. One in the chat, Pete. No, hang on, hold tight. Hello, Mad Lizzie. I hope you're doing well. I'm with you, Pags. I'm with you on that. I mean, I don't hate anyone, but I can pretend to hate a Scouser because... Hang on. We've got someone going on the Scrubs wall. Scrubs wall alert. Scrubs wall alert. Packer, put your hands in the air like that. Go like that, as if it's all going mad. Scrubs wall alert. Scrubs wall alert. Say it twice.
Scrubs wall alert. Scrubs wall alert.
Amazing. Cheers, Packer. I really appreciate that.
With more direction, I'll do it with feeling or something.
No, that was perfect. That I couldn't have asked for better. 42, stick 42 emoji and a heart. You see, they always want that little extra bit. What I'm gonna do.
Can you
I will do something like that. Look, 42 sitting at home now going 20 quid, and he says something like that. No, I've told you what I want.
You're going to get a 42 with it, 42 and an EG in it.
Yeah. It will be a heart with an F and a G. No, you'll get 42 in numerics. You know, numerals is the word I was looking for. And then you'll get emoji and you'll get a heart. Is that all right? Is 42 in numerals acceptable? Tell me if it isn't, and I'll ignore you. But let me know. Thank you for that. That's lovely. It is, isn't it? You know what, Sheila? At the end of every stream, if they're both here, they tell each other how much they love each other. And like Emma's like, no, I love you more. And 42 will be like, no, I love you more. When they first started doing it, I used to think, ew. And I do that with my missus all the time. When she leaves the house, I always go, I love you. And she'll go, I love you more. And I go, Knyom Srolan Diet, which is Khmer for I love you more. And then she'll go, Knyom Srolan Bon Clang Clang, which is I love you really, really loads. And I just thought, and they do that in public because they don't give a shit. Do you know why? Because that love is more important than anything anyone could say to them. It doesn't matter. A few things that 42 has said to me over the years, I know how much she means to him. I would suggest that, and you know, I don't know Emma anywhere near as well as I know 42, but I would suggest that she saved his life. And I'm going to say that. I could be wrong. And it's kind of metaphoric as well, but I reckon she saved his life. I know that 42 come from a very unpleasant place in terms of love relationships. And I know that he's an happy man these days, and most people don't get out of those things alive. So there you go. I made a lot of assumptions then, and I hope he's all right with that. There you go, look. Bless you, mate. So, people, I've done that. I announced it at the beginning. Everyone, Sheila's ... is now Dotty. There's not much more I can do. Sheila, can't you change your name to Dotty? I mean, that would seem to be the easy thing, but for whatever reasons you can't, no worries.
You can change your name. I need to change mine a lot.
Don't you get like a few options that you're allowed to do it like once a month or something?
Yeah.
I've got to put 42 on the brick wall. So 42 and Emma G plus a heart. There you go.
Sitting in a tree. KISSING.
Anyone know what he's talking about, that fella there? Going on about something. Right, well, let's not. I'll tell you what, Bradley. Go on, Packer.
Oh, what was it?
You've forgotten it, haven't you?
Brick wall alert, was it?
Scrubs wall, I can't remember. Wall alert, Scrubs wall alert. Let's go with that. Ready? Together.
Scrubs wall
alert. Scrubs wall alert. Amazing. Bradley. I'm so glad I've been promoting your Substack. He's pumping out the material as well. Clogging up my email like nobody's business. I want Lizard Jane was here. Oh, it's a lot. You got to remember, I keep saying I'm going to buy a Dremel, but it's not. It's going to be a compass. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to need a bigger wall. All right, Brad, thank you so much for that. The Scrubs wall is it's gonna go down in history. Well, hopefully it won't. It will stay up in history. That would be preferable. Right, hang on. I'll put Brad so I know it is. Lizard. I can't believe I've got to have that rotten old fucking tart's name on my house. And he's even gone for the was with a Z. Good Lord. Nice one, Brad. That's really, really appreciated. All donations appreciated, but Scrub Wall, in many ways, it's the grift of ever. Nice one, Brad. Nice one, 42. That's great stuff. And if anyone doesn't know, on the off chance, why have we only got 54 people here? This seems weird. Is it because I'm starting too late? I used to start about 11. It's now 2 o'clock in the morning, my time. I mean, what's the difference in the UK? That's the difference from like about 4 and about 7, isn't it?
It's 8 o'clock here. It's 8 o'clock on a Friday night.
8 o'clock on a Friday night. A lot of people are out, I guess, because I'd usually start 4 hours ago, which is in the middle of the afternoon, isn't it? So there you go. That's explained that. But here's what happened. So I decided. Oi, Jack, I'm sorry about yesterday, mate. I apologise about that. I didn't know until it happened. And I'll tell you something. I'll tell you what, a scrub who wants to remain nameless. So yesterday on the stream, I said, look, I've just found out that Jack and Mousecat are streaming. And I said, I'm sorry about that. I said, but all that stream cucking thing, what you meant to do, there's so many people streaming. And I sort of said, I'm still going to do it, blah, blah, blah. And a scrub who said, I'd like to remain anonymous, but I think you should apologise. Simply, it's not a question of, I can't remember exactly what he wrote, and it'll take a while to dig it out. But he said, it's not a question of you doing anything wrong, but it's just acknowledging to Jack that you're aware of the situation. And I thought that's a fair point. So there you go. I apologise for throwing that, because you probably thought Dangerfield streams at 4, 5, 6 o'clock. And so you probably thought you were safe as houses at 8 o'clock. And I think I started streaming at like 2 o'clock in the morning, my time. So anyway, I haven't had a few gin and tonics, I can assure you. I mean, I do like a gin. Right, where are we? So, Brad says, I can only imagine the historical tour around Cambodia 5,000 years from now. We believe these messages on the wall were ancient. Where's it gone? Were ancient fertility rituals. Oh,
I was thinking something along those lines, yeah.
There's some strange combinations there. I mean, if glass was on there, I think we'd all have a look about. Thank you for everyone who came to my live stream earlier where I walked up 136. I know it was a bit shitty, but the last time I tried to do a live outside, the 4G didn't work. But if you haven't seen it, there's about 4 minutes of me walking up the sexy lady street. You don't get the true vibe but you do get to see literally hundreds of half-naked women wanting your custom for $30 a night. Or 40.
I've never looked at it on the internet, so I'll have a look at that because I've never seen it before.
There you go. I haven't got a clue. But that was nice of people to come along over there. Right, I'm going over to the buy me a coffee just to keep my eye on that. And let's get this calling started. People, you can talk about anything you want. You can talk about things that I don't agree with, you don't agree with, whatever. Anyway, Semiagog was trying to pull rank talking about Jack Lacan and Freud. And I just thought, I mean, I appreciate his gall. You know, I appreciated his bravery, but come on, man. Don't bring an apple to a tank battle. And so I said, me and you need to talk. And then he understood the truth. And he said, yeah, we do, but not Lacan and Freud. And I thought, yeah, see, you know. So I said, yeah, we'll go back to context and meaning. Now, I don't want to reveal my weaponry now, although if Glass is here, she'd probably love me to reveal my weaponry. But I'm going to pull the rug. I mean, my people, like the likes of Jacques the Lad Derrida, they've already pulled the rug out of under Western metaphysics. But I'm going to get that goofy-looking, long-haired hippie twit Semiagog on this channel, and in a way I'm going to have to hold back because they'll never recover. They'll never recover when I'm not even going to pull the rug out. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create enough of a epistemological breeze, yeah, just by going like that. Imagine there was a Rizzler, a cigarette paper sitting on a table, and imagine you went like that, and it causes cigarette paper to sort of move a little bit. That's what that's going to be like. I'm going to do. With my argumentation, I'm going to cause an epistemological rug blowing. This isn't working, is it? This doesn't bode well for the argument. It's not an argument. It's just a conversation. And it's going to fly from underfoot of the Gog. And live on YouTube, he's going to have to be there. He's going to have to pre-set up like a fake, my internet's gone down graphic. You know, hang on. It's not working. Just to get out of there while he's still got, I don't know, some semblance of a reputation intact. Poor bloke. I feel for him. But yeah, so me and Semiagog will be doing a live stream soon, having a chat about meaning. Ironic, really, talking to Semiagog about meaning. Anyway, it'll be a pleasure because old Ollie P is obviously, I'm just joking. He's a good lad, Ollie, and I learn from him, which is why I like talking to him. Right, let's open up the doors, shall we, Picard? Here we go, people. I'm only having one person in at a time. If you don't bring anything to the party, like if you come in and not say much, I will entertain and talk. And yeah, if you come in and do a packer, I've already got a packer. I will have a little tete-a-tete with you, you know, a little vis-a-vis. But, you know, you're going to get the time that the value of your content deserves. And that's all right. You might just want to come on and say, hello, Scrubs. Hope you're all right. Just wanted to say hello. And that's all right. And I'll say hello and that's it. And then I'll, you know, that's fine. But I just don't want anyone to think, fucking hell, he only had me on for 3 minutes. Shut me out. What am I? Some kind of idiot? No, nothing like that at all. What you've got to remember is I've also got to structure a show of some sort. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, after I ate my mango and sticky rice and it got to 12 o'clock and I thought I should get some sleep, messages from work started coming in. So I started answering them. And messages from work start off with a question that big and end up with me having to edit 50 photographs. And then happen, I have to write 20 new product descriptions. And then I'm like, oh, yeah. And before I know it, it's like 10 o'clock at night. And what happened was when all the work that was urgent had stopped, I thought, right, no more, man. I can barely see. This eye started closing. Like my eyelid was just falling on my eye. At one point, I covered this eye and I realized I couldn't see because this eye wasn't open. It was like that. It was like that. I was like that. But because I had my glasses on, I couldn't tell that my eye weren't open. When I covered it, I thought, oh. So I thought you just better do some work. I mean, you better have to do some rest. And I thought I'll just do 30 minutes on my manuscript. And 5 hours later, it was time to eat. So there. So I haven't slept for about 28 hours. So help us out, people, mainly financially, but I'll also take your presence. So here we go. Here's the invite. I'm putting it into the chat. It will only be one person. Hello, the truth will set you free. Hello,
up to get in, Chris.
What's that, son?
They're queuing up to get in.
Are they really?
They're banging on the door.
Hello, Mr. Swain. Do you know what I mean, Pags? I don't get any. Oh, while we're on that, though, Packer, Serpico, definitely don't download it. You can probably just type into the internet, watch Serpico. Jack London. Right, so no one else bother for a while because Jack London's here.
Hold on, mate. Let me just...
What are you going to do? Repair your microphone?
Let me just pause you. Oh,
what the
fuck's
fuck
sake.
is going on there? Packer, what's happening?
Hello? Hold on.
Jesus
Can you hear me, mate?
Christ. I can
Yes.
hear
Can you hear me?
Are you using like a plastic cup and a bit of string?
No, I've got a microphone here. Does it need turning up a bit?
No.
Right, I'm talking. Can you hear me?
Yeah, right, Packer, explain to him the problem because I'll just make stupid jokes. Help him out, can you, mate?
Yeah, the mic just your sound is really bad, and there seems to be some kind of a delay.
Perfect.
Right, okay. I don't know why that be. I've got nothing on in the background.
Jack, it's distorting a bit.
Oh, that's a fucking shame, isn't it?
The game's up too much or something.
Yeah, it's really
lovely
tinny.
to see it, though.
Right, hold on. Yeah, you too, mate. I just wanted to say, don't be a wally about the stream thing, and there's no problem with that. I explained last night. I said, look, listen, you've respected for two and a half years our Sunday night stream. That's our main stream. I've only just started doing streams off my own channel, literally in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, it's not a problem.
That's very kind of you, Jack. But the weird thing was because once my mouth opens, it rarely closes again. Sensual. But it was the apology kind of inverted, and like I say, the scrub who wants to remain anonymous, who's actually here tonight, said that might have come across as a bit unnecessary, and I listened to it and I thought, yeah, you're right. So I just wanted to say that sorry about that, and just leave it there rather than go. But the thing is, what are you fucking meant to do?
Yeah, it's exactly.
Anyway,
exactly.
I will.
Yeah, go on.
Is there a delay?
It shouldn't be.
Right. What we're going to do is this, Jack. I'm going to count to three, and as soon as I get to three, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then in the same rhythm, Packer's going to go 4, 5, 6, and then in the same rhythm, you're going to go 7, 8, 9. So what it should come across to everyone is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right, you ready, people? Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3,
4, 5, 6,
7, 8, 9.
Okay, we can cope with that. There's a little delay, but we'll be right. So, Jack, what do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, I'm in a bit of a sticky situation, as you know. Sort of homeless, sort of doing a bit of sofa surfing at Rags. But Rags got some good news. It's not my news to tell, but it looks like I've got a bit of pressure on to find somewhere to live now, sort of within the next month. And obviously, I've got no sort of local connections and stuff, so I'm having to go down the social worker route.
It's not your news to give, you say, but you're kind of implying Rags is birded off.
No. He's just, he's been like...
You said that as if there was no chance in hell of that happening.
I guess I did, didn't I? Yeah, I guess I did. No, he's it looks like they finally got him somewhere that's going to be a lot more suitable for him to live after all this time. So, and that's what he needs, So
that puts you into a difficult position. Okay, so what? So yeah. Go on, carry on. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, so basically, because I've got like no local connections, and at the moment I haven't got work at the moment, so or any sort of savings to lean on. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of pressure on, but nothing. I've been through a lot worse, mate. So it will all work out.
You know what, Jack? There's a thing in the 12-step fellowships, and as most of you know, I despise most of the stuff in the 12-step fellowships, but the bits I like have saved my life. And there's a line they often use there's a line they often use where they refer to the gift of desperation. And it's where it's essentially if you're comfortable and you're just being kept all right. I don't mean I'm not saying your situation necessarily, but like once me and my mother went to a social worker, and the social worker said to my mum, "Do you cook him dinner?" And I was like about 30 at the time. She went, "Of course I do. He's my son." He went, "Do you wash his clothes?" My mum went, "Yeah, of course I do. He'll stink otherwise. He stinks anyway." And then she went, "Do you put a roof over his head?" She went, "Yeah, he's got a bedroom in the house." She went, "All right." She went, "Do you give him money for drugs?" She went, "Yeah, sometimes, yeah, because it's quite hard to see him when he's sick." And then the social worker said to my mum, "Why do you think he's ever going to stop?" And it was a weird little moment. And when we got home, my mum, she started saying, someone, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Anglo. Oh fuck! I haven't told Anglo about the stream. I didn't yesterday either. I better email him now. Is he in the chat? Let me know if you're here, Anglo.
I ain't seen him.
And she said, someone in the chat said your mother looked after you to keep you alive. And I think it might have been Pizzle, actually. She kept you alive. She didn't chuck you out so that you lived on the street. She kept you there. She looked after you. You built a business and it all worked. Do you know what I mean? But she did put down some new rules. She said there's no more buying you drugs. There's no more driving you anywhere. And she essentially took herself out of the whole equation except for me living there. And she said she wanted 30 quid a week towards food. And it was it was a gift of desperation because I had to change my life. I had to because it wasn't a massive desperation, but you're in a position now based on what I know. Whereas if you can't sort this out, what are you doing? Going back to England with your tail between your legs thinking, well, that didn't turn out too well?
I'm trying not to have those sort of thoughts, but like literally to have a roof over my head, I would have to go back to Basingstoke, where family are.
It's heartbreaking, really, Jack, because when it was all working, I remember talking to you, I think, on Telegram. You said, "I tell you what, out here it's lovely. It's a different world." You were so happy. You were birded off. You said you're in love with this woman, and you're living somewhere. I think you were working, or you had some project on the go. And life can just come and give you a fucking slap round the face, can't it? It really can. So you've got choices to make now, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've got to think, what am I going to do? What are you going to do? So have you? What's going on on Planet Jack?
Well, I haven't just sat on my arse. I've been making contact with. I've got appointments booked with a housing executive and stuff like that. I spoke to a doctor, laid it on a bit thick and stuff, like you got to play the game right. And they said, we can write you like supporting letters and stuff. But it might be a case of having to go like, she said like temporary accommodation, which would be like a B&B and stuff like that. And like, the only sort of like, I've been doing really well, on sobriety and stuff like that. And obviously, with what's happened, my mind has sort of thought about that escape, from reality kind of thing. But it's a different world here for that. It's not like you can, where I was living back in England, I could get it delivered quicker than a pizza, But I've got no. That's not a road I want to go down. Put it that way, I'm quite happy. Yeah. So I've just got to play the game now. I've got to go to meetings.
I understand what you're saying. It's a temptation for sure. For sure, it's a temptation.
Yeah, I will always be there, even if I'm in a good place, mate. It's because that's how it works for me, anyway. Yeah. But yeah, I'll play the game. I'll go and meet who I have to. I'll go and people have been really, really helpful, supportive. Even 42 put in there, look, send me an email, mate. I've helped a lot of people out, so I will. There's no one that I won't go and speak to, So I'll do that, 42, mate. And let's listen. In the words of Chumbawamba, I'll get knocked down, but I'll get up again.
Please.
Yeah. Do you remember that?
John, that's your real gift of desperation, quoting Chumbawamba as your...
What was his name? Dan No Bacon, wasn't it? I think it was his artist name.
All I know is they used to live in a squat in Leeds. They made an absolute fortune, and they used to have parties in that squat. And there was a big argument in there one night. They were having a party there. Squat party, early 90s, ketamine-fueled nonsense. And Chumbawamba, who'd made millions off of the back of that song. That was back in the day where you could still make monies out of getting a number one hit. And they were
how many adverts and football and like the royalties, they must still be coining the royalties off that, I imagine,
There's not so much money in music these days. I was talking to someone about this earlier, and he was saying, even 100 million downloads on Spotify is like pocket money.
I know, yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
I'll tell you, the only person I know who makes a serious amount of money off of old songs is Boy George. He said to me that Karma Chameleon is playing somewhere in the world every hour.
Yeah, I can imagine.
He knows that because what is it, PNR or performance? I don't know. But yeah, most of the money nowadays is touring and merchandise. Anyway, hang on. You're very good at diverting away to talking about rubbish. Not rubbish, but rubbish. But what are you going to do? How long have you got? What's going to happen? You can't. So Rags is giving you the boot. You're going to have to sort something out.
He's not giving me the boot. It's
I know.
He's waited for a hell of a long time.
His legs don't work well enough to give you the boot.
It's not easy for him living here, But this place is like.
There is it.
What's that?
He said it's not easy for him to kick me out either, then, is it?
There you go. Just run rings around. Tie him to that fucking wheelchair. Do you make it like Misery? Tie him to the bed, stick a brick between his legs. Raggery.
Fucking hell.
You wake up one morning and Jack will be at the end of the bed with the baseball bat. Just like, I love you, Rags.
Great big sledgehammer.
I mean, there are ways. You know, there's ways of making money. There's there's ways of rocking up to places and saying, "Do you need a man?" Hang on, that sounded a bit weird. I'm not talking about old competency.
Listen. I've still got my motor as well. So I've got a car, I've got wheels and stuff, you know. And it's not like I'm not saying I'm going to sleep in my car or anything like that. But what I'm saying is I can get about, you know. And literally, like, I can pack my life up in that motor. Between you being the gatepost and the rest of the scrubs that are watching, the X has got a lot of my stuff still, and it's a bit hard getting hold of it at the moment. But there's a lot of stuff that's quite what's the word I'm looking for? There's a lot of my old man stuff, like, you know, that I couldn't lift when I came up here.
What I've found historically, if ex-girlfriends have got things of mine, if I want to get them back, I usually go to eBay.
Yeah. No, it's sentimental things, like it's one of my old man's flat caps and stuff like that. Stuff I don't really want to leave behind, like, you know.
Yeah, heartbreaking. JP suggesting coming out here. Oi, people, I can't. JP reckons you should maybe put a little skirt on and do some grafting up on 136. I mean, you know, you're not bad on the eye.
There's options, isn't there? Yeah.
But I'm serious about that gift of desperation. You know, it's going to take work. It's going to take time. It's going to take money and time. It's going to. What's that song?
Yeah.
To do it right
now.
I got my mind set
on you. I got my mind. Yeah. Great tune.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that last saying? Just the tip, Jack. Just the tip. I've heard someone said that to me before. Thanks, Emma.
They always say when someone says just the tip, they mean balls deep. I think that might.
Yeah, they mean conkers up to the maker's nameplate.
I have to say though, my missus loves it. She loves it when I go, come on, can I just put a little bit in? She loves it. She's like squirming all over the place. She don't like it when I just go, you know, I'm a bloke. I just want to fucking get it in and get it over with. She's like, I go, come on, just a little bit. And she's like, dick. Ironically, Khmer for small is dick. So she'll go, dick. And I'll go, yeah, just dick.
And the hair on a dicky dido hang down by her knees.
I won't have you sing songs like that about my girlfriend. No,
I think that's a rugby song, and I'm not into all that sort of culture. But listen, I will Buffalo Soldier. I will. I'll get. You know, I can't do anything until I've had this appointment with the housing exec. That's booked. That's booked for not next week, the following week. So I've got about 6 weeks to get my shit together.
All right,
which is plenty of time.
It will go quickly though, Jack. You know that time flies, doesn't it? But this could be the start of a great new chapter. You know, it could be if everything stayed like it was, which, you know, no dramas there. But if everything stayed like it was now, you might still be doing that in 2, 3, 4 years' time. Do you know what I mean? And so enforced change can sometimes be the best kind of change. I'm just trying to put.
No, I completely agree with you. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And the weird thing was, right? So I had this was either a couple of days ago. So I had the phone call with the social worker about and then I rang up the housing executive and got my appointment. And Rags got his phone call a couple of hours later. It was like something fucking aligned. you know. So maybe it was the universe, you know, saying
Keys of the Kingdom reckons you should apply for the job of Rags' full-time carer.
no, he doesn't. He doesn't need that. He wouldn't want that.
Don't say that on the internet. That's how he's getting his welfare check.
Oh, Rags, we're really sorry about all your benefits, and we just stopped.
Packer, you're very quiet because Jack is blowing everyone's eardrums out. You've gone very quiet.
Yeah. Right, Jack, I've been on my arse several times in my life. Once I just went and got a job as a security guard, right? Made supervisor, learned about fire alarm systems and security systems, which I still use now in my present job.
Yeah.
Once I went and got a job in a slaughterhouse, which I don't use anymore, but I did end up blagging a job as a butcher on the back of that.
Right.
And you're certainly cheering him up. Anything else? More?
I mean, you know, everything. Like you're saying,
more system.
An opportunity to learn. Just go and get a job, mate. Just do something. You got a car.
I think that's the way to go, isn't it? Get yourself stable.
Yeah, listen, I've done so many different things. Obviously, my trade was in engineering, like electrical engineering. So I've got stuff to fall back on, you know. It's just I listen, there's a few things I wouldn't do. Like we were driving through town the other day, and it was a hot day, right? And there was someone there on a building site, you know, when they have to go and like bilge out the portaloos and that. And I'm like, he probably gets in his van and sits down and then eats his sandwiches. Like, I don't know how anyone, like, fair play, because it's a job that needs doing, but I just don't. I couldn't. I've got such a strong gag reflex. I'll just be. I'll be like you.
You want to think, what can I do? And if you can't do that, you can't do that. But just think, what can I do? You do something.
Yeah.
I think if you've got some money in your pocket, you can't do fuck all else, can you?
No.
I'll be very interested, and I'm hoping that over the next 6 weeks we see a very positive story start to unfold. You're a lovely bloke, Jack. And
well, I'll keep you updated on Telegram anyway, mate. So that's I'll keep you up.
Telling you to talk to him, I think.
Yeah, I know. I've already addressed that. I'm going to I'll compose an email this weekend. Probably do it tomorrow.
Do it tomorrow.
And,
Emma, can you say something like that to me, please?
Glass, that is not 42, Emma.
That's a fair point. A distinction worth making. Pag's worked in a slaughterhouse and an iron foundry. I've been researching slaughterhouses for this accidentally commercially viable novel. Jack, I'm going to let you go now. You've got 42 seconds, right?
Yeah. Thanks. Just give us give our stream a plug for Sunday 7:00 on Rags' channel. We've got Johnny Palmer on.
Okay, people. So John Palmer, which is always quality content, that will be on Sunday, the exact same time that I'll be streaming. So,
don't worry about it, because he's on here in a minute and he's going to say everything he's going to say on Sunday.
No, what time?
Listen, I'm going to 7 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, and I'm going to be in the chat now anyway, listening in. So,
no, Jack, you've ruined it. It ain't Greenwich Mean Time. I nearly missed a business meeting the other day. Currently, it's British summertime, isn't it? You're BST at the moment.
Oh, is that right? Do you remember Greenwich Park when you can stand on the meridian and have 1 foot in the east and 1 foot in the west? Yeah, right by the Royal Observatory. Yeah,
I've been on an aeroplane, Jack, where you look out one window and it's sunny, and you look out the other window and it's nighttime. Have a look at that then.
Oh wow!
Now imagine you could fly on that aeroplane while flying above the Greenwich Mean Time line. I reckon the whole world would collapse.
That's like being bit by a shark while being hit by lightning, isn't it?
Schlightning, I call that. If you want me to.
The Earth is The Earth's axis has
I
tilted by
can't hear a
almost.
word you're saying, Packer. Shut
The
up.
Earth's
Lou.
axis has tilted by almost 45 degrees at this point. We're all fucked.
I was aware that they couldn't combine. It wasn't a scientific experiment, mate. But thank you, though. That I won't use that one again. Jack, good luck with everything. Keep us informed. If there's anything I can do, let me know.
Yeah, I just want to quickly say, because I haven't seen him in your chat for ages, we've actually got Horus on as well in June the 15th, I think it is. He hasn't been on this year of us yet, so I'm looking forward to that as well. Oh, Boris.
Got anything else you want to advertise?
No, I think that's the plug-in all over. I could give you a few more dates, but I don't worry about that. Thank you so much for letting me come on.
Got anything for sale?
My friend, for you, I have special price.
Jack, lovely to see you, mate.
Marketplace.
Yeah,
Jack, I hope it works out for you. And to put it bluntly, you're not powerless here. This is about you making it happen. Do you know what I mean? There's people in a lot worse situations than you're in, so make it work.
Oh, God, yeah, I'll do it. I know that, mate. Right, listen, all the best. God bless. All right, see you soon, Packer.
Look after yourself, son. Ta-da.
What?
People, give Jack some love in the chat, can you? That ain't an easy place to be in. That's like, what, 6 weeks? 6 weeks till you got nowhere to live and you're scratching around for money. I mean, trust me, I've been there. Like yesterday. But, you know, he's an adult. He's an adult. He's a friend, and he's in that situation. It ain't easy. So bless him. Bless you, Jack. I hope some scrubs can help you out as and when they can. And you know where I am on Telegram. I might take a while to answer, but I get there in the end. I mean, I replied to Barkley today. He only left a message 9 months ago. Hang on a minute. Look at what's happened here. Bosh. Hold tight, though, 42, because I think someone else has made a Denarciati. Alexander has dropped 250k. Is 250 knock? Is that 20 quid? I don't think that is it? I think that's about £2.50. I'm not knocking £2.50. Knocking.
Oh, good.
I'm just going to work out whether you're going to get Alex or just that first line of the A.
Like AG.
Knock. There you go. Norwegian kroner. Let's translate that to dollars. Alex is sitting at home now going, I didn't really think about this, did I? He's fucking got a brick in the wall. He's fucking done it. Packer, get on it. Scrubs wall alert. Alex, I'll take it all back. But Boris, if you want a burp, it's a tenner. It's a tenner for a burp. Boris, don't you want to be on the Scrubs wall for a 20? Alex, I'll take it all back. 250. You're in the book. You're going in. Alex, you have to tell me what you want. Do you want Alexander G? Is that what you want? Confirm that in another message, obviously a non-paid one. Amazing. Pag said rubbish about something. Mark said learn a Romania and be an interpreter. All of the phone, £45 an hour. I don't even know what that means, but I love you, Mark, which is great stuff.
Packer said it's Scrubs wall alert, apparently. We're still both getting it wrong.
Who said that?
Mrs. Packer.
It was Scrubs wall alert, wasn't it? That was the original. I'm going to write that in the book so that we don't forget it. What was that?
Don't worry, she'll be here.
Hang on. I'm going to write that sideways. What was that joke she said last night? I commended her in the email when I sent the link. But she said
you're
something
not even a 9 joke or something.
Yeah, that's it. You're not even 9. I can't remember the context, but it was very good. It was very good. Right, let me just see what Alexander wants. How are you, Bozza? You doing all right, son? Hello, Bill. Bill used to be my biggest donator. Nothing anymore. I think he's been sacked off. You're all right, though, Bill. You were my biggest donator. Do you know that? people see Bill doing the odd £2 here and there, but those £2 built up. Bless him. I hope you're well, Bill. Is that what's happened? That usually does it, isn't it? Let me just see. Hello, Mr. Elephant. Sorry I'm late. I'm about to burn my paint shop down in anger. You can't get a decent brush these days. I don't know if that's a song reference. I feel like that's gone right over my head. If you've got anything.
It's a very middle-class pop song. Don't burn your paint shop down in anger. Like, you know.
I don't know what's going on. But I haven't slept for God knows how long. So, you know. Hang on. I'm just looking for Alexander for him to confirm. Glass? Fucking hell.
He's talking about knock. Alexander G is fine, he says.
Hang on, you want no king. What did he say? Sorry, Packer, you saw another one. Hello, T, how are you, son? Yeah. Spanish.
Alexander G is fine.
He wants
just Alexander G.
All right. Alexander G, you are on the Scrubs wall. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. That's very nice of you, James. No king's hilarious. So Bora says Chris is going to go and knock one out over that. I don't do that anymore. The missus takes care of it. There's nothing left. When she goes away for a few days, I mean, because we've got the land built, she's fucking started ringing dates on the calendar now. And those 4 days before, you know, she's fucking draining me dry. It is exactly that, Pags. If people don't know what that is, that will be, of course, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy's way of getting around the fact that everyone in the universe speaks the same language. And
no,
why
it's not? That's not how it works. The Babel face is a face that you stick in your ear, and it will instantly translate in real time.
It is.
Yeah, and I know. Do you know what, Packer? I forgot 42 was even here. And when I heard his voice, voice, then I didn't know what the fuck was going on. But 42, lovely to see you. Hope you're well, my friend. But that leads to what? It's how everyone in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy all speaks English. That was my point.
Ooh. First off,
that's what it is. That's as a literary kind of device. That's what it is. As a writer, are they all going to speak different languages, or am I going to have to get round this by this little fish that you drop in your ear, and as you speak, in it, it translates.
Chris, here's a question for you. Do you ever wonder why all these languages that are apparently different from English all use the same fucking 26 letters?
Well, they don't, do they?
Pretty much.
I mean, there is definitely a similarity.
Okay.
I think Cambodia's got 73. What about China?
Yes, right, okay. Well, we're going to need to close that down to Europeans.
I preferred Lieutenant Uhura.
42, you can just ignore Packer when he says things that no one knows what they're about. Just carry on with the conversation we were having before.
Right. First off, Chris, haven't spoken to you for a while. What about you, Sean?
Yeah, it's been too long. I'm doing all right.
Good. Same here. Second thing is...
Sorry, I was meant to ask that, wasn't I? How are you?
No, it's okay. No, it's okay. But second thing is, thank you so much for what you said about Emma G and I in the show earlier. Lovely. That was absolutely lovely. The one thing we'll say about Emma G is, apart from being an angel, if her ex and my ex got together, that would be perfect karma, because they would, right.
I know that one. I know that feeling.
Yeah, but she's come out of that. She's an absolute angel. She did indeed save me and squeeze all my broken bits back together and keeps nudging me in the right direction. Not only that, she looks fucking amazing in a pair of handcuffs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, you've gone into this in private emails, but the first time I ever see the pair of you talking together, I think it was just before your holiday, or maybe on your holiday. You can just see the way you are with each other. It's just,
it's amazing.
I'm so happy for you. I'm sure it's not perfect, and if it was, that's a worry because people are playing roles, but
yeah.
It's pretty close. It looks pretty close,
It's as close as you can get after a fucked up life.
There you go.
I consider I came out a winner.
Is that life or wife?
Life.
Okay.
I had a pretty fucked up life until just before I met Emma.
Yeah, amazing, man. I mean, I was talking to my missus today, and I mean, I do have a private life that a lot of people don't. I think I could possibly have, but this bird has saved my life without a doubt. When I first got to Cambodia, I was shit-faced all day, every day, really. Alcohol, and I'll put alcohol above all the other drugs I've used, apart from crack, maybe, in terms of the damage it does to me, because it turns me into a completely different person. Just going from one brothel to the next, like 4 or 5 a day, and that doesn't go very far as a life,
No, and the other thing is, it's the social acceptability of it, and people feel to recognize the difference between people that have a drink and then go on with their normal life, and people whose life becomes drinking because it's masking a larger problem.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
It's really socially acceptable. It's more socially acceptable than stay highs, for example. It's more.
I 42. I even think that full blown alcoholism is accepted.
Oh, it is.
People it's funny, isn't it? He gets up, look, he's already had a couple of scotches for breakfast.
Put it this way, see, whenever a school teacher gets done for drinking wine before she goes into the class, it's not a really big, massive scandal the way it would be if they were smoking cannabis, injecting heroin.
Literally anything else.
Yeah,
like even a Valium. It's probably worth, even.
Oh well,
yeah.
I grew up in a place where do you want a wee Valium sandwich was a genuine question.
Do you want a Valium sandwich?
Yeah.
I sort of do.
yeah. Two wee blue ones. I'm creating a couple of bits of bread. Yep. Sort your right out. The other thing is the Greenwich Mean Time thing, which is we're talking to with Jack. Do you know how that came about?
What, the actual physical line?
Okay, we put the physical line there.
Hang on. You've jumped a bit there. You said, "Do you want to know what it's about?" You didn't let me answer.
Okay,
I might say no.
Right. Okay. Go.
Now you asked me the question again.
Right. Do you want to know how Greenwich Mean Time came about?
No.
Right. Okay. We'll not talk about that then.
Of course I do, you lovely bastard. But what I want to suggest is, are you talking about the actual bit of metal up at Greenwich Observatory, or are you talking about the concept of Greenwich Mean Time?
More about why Greenwich Mean Time is the time that everywhere sets by.
Can I have a guess?
Yeah.
It's a real long shot. It's lovely to see you here, Horus, by the way. I think this is a real long shot. Is this something to do? Is it right? I'll tell you what. You can give me 3 yes nos. How about that? So
go for it.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Is it something to do with sailing?
Yes.
So, It was something to do with longitude and latitude, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah! Right. It was impossible on a boat to know the time or something. No, that's not it, is it?
That's taking you 3/4 of the way there.
That'll do. Go on. I'm glad I got. I knew there was. I knew it was
Right.
something. They used to have these weird things on boats that balance, and someone said, "No, we've got the horizontal lines. We need the verticals, or the other way around." Take it away, 42.
Right,
Educate scrubs. Go.
You're 3/4 of the way there, and the bit that everybody gets taught. It was always easy to plot the longitude.
Hang on, can we just enjoy the fact that you just backhanded me then?
No,
yeah, you're 3/4 of the
no.
way there. Everyone
Chris,
knows that bit.
I was not backhanding you. I was backhanding the education system. The reason why people don't know the rest of this is because our education system fucked up. See, what happens is we figured out how to know where you were on the longitude, and then we needed to come up with time and thing to get you longitude to get you exactly where you were. Now, this only works if you're on a set line, and then they worked out the time from there back and forward. But the reason why GMT was chosen as the one to go with was because in Greenwich at 12 noon they hoisted a ball up the spear, and it dropped down, and all the ships could then set exactly to 12 p.m. and get their timing. So that's where the phrase pulling in and getting your timing comes from.
Right, 42. What I'm going to do as a test here is ask Packer to explain what you just said.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. I've done that thing, haven't I?
What would you... I've done that thing. Packer, what's he talking about? Explain what he just said.
I missed what he just said because I was reading a comment because Eleanor Walmsley's talking to me.
Okay.
Trust me, I've got this.
Let me try to rephrase this.
Right, listen, Packer. I'm coming back to you.
The reason why exact Greenwich Mean Time was set on that Greenwich meridian.
Oh, no, I've got this.
Right, was set in the Greenwich meridian was because that's where the ships came in London, and they could check their timing at exactly 12 o'clock and know where they were and how to set their clock so they would know during the voyage. Now, because of that, all British sailing charts were done as Greenwich Mean Time. And whenever about 70 years later, they decided to standardize it, they used all the charts from the British Empire, which then set time at Greenwich Mean Time.
Right, hang on. So jokes aside, because I'm actually into this. So that metal line it's in the Greenwich Observatory, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that
it runs right around the circumference of the Earth?
So the actual metal bar doesn't, does it?
No.
Never does that. No.
No, but if you extended it for long enough, it would.
But so hang on, does that go down to like the Thames or something?
Yep. Well, where that is in Greenwich, that was all docks.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought.
So
although the bit of metal doesn't, there's a bit down on what was Greenwich Docks where a boat could come in and say, we are at 0 degrees longitude.
No, it was more to do with setting their clocks. So you had to have your clock to be extremely accurate whenever you went out past the coastline to get your timings. So if your clock was a minute slow, that were a minute fast, that could work out to 500 miles on your observations. So the bigger thing was making sure that you had the correct time from Greenwich that would tie up with the charts that you had. So on your ship, you had
Why is it important to know the time on a boat?
because you work out your longitude via the time of the day and the position of the sun, and those two things make
and
an
the
equation.
stars and things like that.
Yeah,
So
yes.
if you know it takes you 10 minutes for that star or whatever, then you know you've got a certain amount of distance or
but that'll give you one direction, but to tie in the other direction, you need to know what time you are on your chart. And if your charts are set to Greenwich Mean Time London, you need to know what time it is in Greenwich Mean Time London. So every sailing ship in the world, all those tall ships were all set to Greenwich Mean Time London because we figured this shit out.
Unsurprisingly, being brilliant. But is the mean bit, is that a mean average rather than angry?
I'm not sure what that word means.
It will be, because you have modal average, mean average, and what's the other one? Modal, median. That's it.
Yeah.
Hang on, but sometimes don't they call it the Greenwich median, or is that something else?
Well, the medium is the line that runs around the circumference of the Earth, and there are many mediums. So they came to a point where they had to choose which one they were going to do all their maps off. And whenever they made that decision, they chose the Greenwich one because all the British Empire maps were off that. And the most prized possession for pirates in the ship was a Greenwich Mean Time clock that was still set at the correct time, because then they could work out where they were.
We've got it wrong. It's the mean. It's not. Oh, it is modal, but they just call it mode. Yeah, mean, median, and mode. There you go. So all maps designed after that was 0.0.
Yes. Despite the geography, London's ground zero for the world, and everything works off that.
I'll tell you what, I went there a couple of years ago. It looks like fucking ground zero and all.
Fuck. Yeah.
Hello, AA. Packer reckons the English invented time. I don't know if...
We've just explained that. Greenwich Mean Time.
Well, actually, they did.
Quite important.
They did to a certain extent, because whenever you want to know the time in America, it's GMT +5 or GMT +6. See, if you have the GMT, you don't know where the fuck you are, or where. More importantly, you don't know when you are.
Did the English not invent a language of time rather than time itself? I think maybe God might have invented that. Fair
enough. We worked it out and explained it to everyone else so they can understand it.
See, this is what I'm anyone here an advanced mathematician? And by here I mean on the stream, not these two, because I'm going to guess that's no. I'll tell you why, because I want to talk to Warren Smith about objective reality. Now, you lot know I'm a bit of a postmodernist. But the thing is, that doesn't mean anything anyway. It's a ridiculous thing to accuse someone of. It's like accusing someone of being a post-impressionist. It's like, okay. Now, what the argument against the undefined postmodernists is that they say there's no objective reality. Whereas my angle on that is, by the way, thank you, 42, for explaining all that. And I want to come back to you you were talking about raising the boy and all that. And I want to come back to that in a minute. But here's my issue with objective reality. When someone says to me, do you believe in objective reality? I'll say, yeah, I do, yeah. And they're like, yeah, but you're like a Derridian, which doesn't make sense. And here's my issue. With anything, and I've been using mathematics, because maths is essentially a language. You know, you see people writing down like maths. It's a
unifying language.
It's a language, isn't it? Maths is a language.
It's also the unifying language, because no matter what language you go to, 2 + 2 = 4. there's
no, not necessarily because of quantum mechanics, but that's a different debate. But here's my point.
That's above my pay grade.
Well, it's above mine too, but that come up today, ironically enough. Well, not ironically enough, strangely enough. But here's the thing. So this objective reality, how do we communicate it? How do we talk about it? How do we know about it? Because we've got language, which would suggest that this thing that we call objective reality is restricted in some way by the limits of language. Because if you can't, language is contradictory. Language doesn't work properly.
Thoughts are only useful if you can vocalize them.
Well, exactly. Well, not necessarily vocalize, because you could write them. But you know, I say your point's right. You know, as I always quote, language represents thought as thought represents itself. And if you've got objective reality, the only way you can communicate it, the only way you can make it a thing is by making it language, whether that's writing, speaking, whatever. But then it's restricted to the inherent limits and contradictions of language. This is one of philosophy's greatest issues. Like most Western metaphysics has essentially been about language. Jean-Jacques Rousseau's famous essay, and a fantastic read, is called The Essay on the Origin of Languages. But Derrida will tell you that the idea of an origin is a linguistic idea. The idea that things came before and after things is a linguistic idea. I don't want to go down that road because that's even more complicated. But what tools have philosophers got at their disposal to argue and discuss language?
Only language. You can't discuss it with anything else.
There you go.
Yep.
And that's quite a problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
we're gonna do. You know, that's like imagine you had some copper sulfate and you wanted to learn as much as you could about copper sulfate, but all you could use was copper sulfate. You're kind of limited. And that is the issue with language. And that is my issue with so-called objective reality, because we've only got language to what's the word? Right. To define it.
I got a question. Not an expert in any sense of the word of objective reality, but surely anybody's reality from their objective is reality because it's theirs. It just might not be what everyone else sees. Or am I totally wrong?
What you've just done there is upset the entire right wing of the world and everyone who hates postmodernists, because you've just said there isn't an objective reality, it's subjective.
Yeah. Well, it is. See the person that looks into a room and everybody's waving their arms about and thinks that there's a fire or something going on. That's their reality, but they don't realize that there's a big glass window there and they just can't hear the music and the fuckers are dancing. And the people inside the room have got a totally different reality. So and those two things can be true and correct at the same time.
Packer, what's he talking about now?
Schrodinger's cat.
Schrodinger's fire.
No, it's not Schrodinger's cat. Right. Imagine
Go
this.
On, try again. Go
right.
On.
You're standing in a corridor and you can see there's a room full of people in front of you waving their arms.
Corridor, not a corridor, Chris.
And looking
corridor.
Yeah, you're in a corridor. Right. One of those things that they have in schools that lets you get into the rooms. Right.
We're winding you up, mate. Sorry.
Hello.
You're in a corridor.
You're in a corridor.
Yeah.
Not a colander. A colander is something that lets you get the water away from your veggies.
I actually want to know what you're saying. So sorry. Right. You're in a corridor. Right.
And you're looking into a room.
Right.
And all the people in the room are jumping up and down excitedly.
Right.
And you think there must be something very wrong.
Someone wants to be on the scrubs wall, maybe.
No,
so they're all
going, no, right. No, you're looking in the wall, and you're looking in the room, and it's full of people, and they're all jumping up and down and being very excited. And you think there could be something bad going on there, maybe a fire, maybe whatever, because that's what you've observed. That's your reality.
Yeah.
But the other side of the glass window, there's a concert going on, and the people are enjoying it.
Right. Now, hang on, though. Now, here's the thing, though. Here's the obvious answer. That's not the difference between objective and subjective reality. That's just the bloke not having all the information and getting it wrong. Because the objective reality is they're at a party.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, then.
Yeah, that's all it is, because it is subjective. And from where he is, it looks weird. From where they are, it looks good.
Yeah, but if I was to say to you, what is the objective reality in that situation? You'd say there's people having a party.
It depends where you're standing.
All right, okay. So it depends what information you've got available to you.
Yeah.
So there isn't an objective reality. There's not a party going on. It depends from where you're looking.
Yeah, and then if you see something
hang on,
weird,
but
maybe you want to
42.
go and investigate and find out the facts.
Yeah, but even though you're looking at that room and you're thinking, oh, there might be a fire there or a murder going on or whatever, you're wrong, because the objective reality is there's a party going on.
Yes, because you haven't done the due diligence of finding out the facts.
Yeah, but regardless of that, the story you told defends the idea of an objective reality, because someone is wrong.
Yeah,
there is still definitely a party going on.
Oh yeah. Whenever you have two widely opposing opinions, one of them's wrong.
Say that again.
Wherever you have two vastly different opinions, one of them is wrong.
So what about when we fire a beam of light through two slits and one comes out as waves and one comes out as protons?
Yeah. That's nothing to do with opinions. That's what happens with fucking light.
Well, this is the problem. This is why quantum mechanics is making the whole objective reality thing even more confusing. I mean, I actually believe in objective reality. I just think it's limited to the problems of the system of language, which are many.
Okay, so do me a favor. Explain to me what objective reality is.
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, again, what I would say is right. Let me have a think about this. It's a reality that isn't based on perception. It's based on an actuality. So even if no one was looking, it's still there. It's still there.
That sounds very like the truth to me.
Yeah, well, I think the truth and reality, they're pretty close, aren't they?
Yeah, the truth and objective.
So do we have objective truth?
Here's where the problem is. We used to have this. Reality used to be what every fucker observed, and now it gets twisted and changed into something else. We used to have objective truth, and now we have decisions of truth made based on who it was said it, why they said it, and what their intentions were. So we have moved very far away from all of the actual reality, all of the actual truth. And now, in order to mitigate the fact that what we're working with is so far away from reality or truth, we'll have to put objective reality and objective truth on it to
it wasn't.
People to land themselves whenever they're faced with the truth.
It was only a few years ago that the media was pushing the idea that we lived in a post-truth society.
Well, I would say they were right and they were late to the party.
See, my issue is still, I do believe in objective reality. I'll repeat it for the last time. The only way that it can be defined and delimited is through language, and therefore it suffers from the limits and contradictions inherent in the system of language.
Right. It's hard to verbalize or even write down all of the thoughts. Is that what you mean? Well,
no, I just mean that, language is an imperfect system.
Yes.
And so whatever. So if you're going to say there's an objective truth or an objective reality where things simply are, well, okay. But the only way we can observe, mediate, maintain, discuss, debate those are using language. Then that objective truth or objective reality is hindered by the limits of the imperfect system of language.
Yep.
Like, imagine if you've only got 10 words in your whole language, and
right.
and those 10 words happen to be something like, and this won't be 10 words, but something like, there's too much milk in my tea. You're going to struggle to tell someone that you've been stabbed in the back and you're bleeding to death.
Not only is there that problem of not enough words, you've also got, whenever you utter the words, other people have a really large tendency to reinterpret them for you before they fucking get through to their brain.
Well, this is another issue with language. As I've explained many times, language appears, we trust language. The more words you use, the more specific you're being. If I say to you a black cat, well, it's not a white cat, it's not an orange cat, it's not a dog, it's not a giraffe. I'm being specific because I've used 3 words.
Oh.
I've used I can't remember what it is, but I've used I've used black, and I've used cat. But the problem is language also works via associative chains, because black doesn't actually mean anything. Cat doesn't describe anything. It just says not dog, not giraffe, not table, not sound, not thought. And so the more words you use would suggest you're being more specific. The more I describe something to you, the more specific I'm being. But language doesn't work like that. It not only does it become more specific, but it also opens up the potential for more meaning. Like, you might have had a black cat as a child that your dad chopped its head off in front of you when you were 4 years old. So when I say to you and Packer, I've got a story for you. There was this father and he had a black cat in his hands. That immediately means 2 very different things to the pair of you. So although it looks like I'm being quite specific, a father had a black cat. To you, a whole childhood of trauma and how that affected the rest of your life and your relationship with your father, your relationship with death, your relationship with pets, all things like that. Packer's got none of that. He's got other relationships with black cats. So the same line that would appear to be quite specific is already, just with 2 people, completely different. And so take that example when we're discussing so-called objective reality. Language is imperfect. And yet it's all we've got to talk about this so-called language can't be objective. So good luck discussing something that's supposedly objective. That's my point.
Have you heard of a writing style called deliberate ambiguity?
I haven't, but I know it.
Yeah. Well,
I haven't. Go on, this is interesting.
There's a really interesting document. It's called the Good Friday Agreement.
Yeah, okay.
It was signed in Northern Ireland on Good Friday many years ago. It's apparently a peace deal, and was the first document of its type to be written in a style of language called deliberate ambiguity.
Right, hang on. So what I need to know, just because I'm interested, who said that? Who? Well, I'm sitting in front of an internet.
Northern Ireland office said it. Northern Ireland office said it was written with deliberate ambiguity.
It's quite interesting because in the lockpicking world, there's two phrases. There is. Hang on. Hang on. Oh, hang on.
Be advised.
Mark Tobias has just released a book about the security industry, and it's called Insecurity Engineering, and it's got a bit of that about it. And there's another thing that the security industry relies on, and it's called security via obscurity. Like I'll tell you now, everyone in this chat, I can get in your house and your car probably in less than 5 minutes, simply because I've studied locks. They're so bad. Locks are terrible. They don't work very well. So there's a bit of a crossover here. Anyway, I've just asked who coined that phrase. Who did you say it was? Apparently. Oh, okay, this is interesting. All right, let me read this out. The term deliberate ambiguity, or the broader concept of using ambiguity strategically, is often associated with Henry Kissinger.
Yeah.
In the context of international relations and negotiation. That's amazing. Hang on. Right, so we've got that. Hang on, let me close that. I've got too many of these open. However, the concept of ambiguity itself, that's a bit long, has had a long history in literary criticism and rhetoric. Poet and critic William Epsom, is that the bloke you said? Did you say William Epsom? His 1930 book, 7 Types of Ambiguity, I mean, that itself is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Well, that Good Friday Agreement, the peace deal in Northern Ireland, was written with deliberate ambiguity. And what they did was use a hell of a lot of words, a lot like Jordan Peterson, to say very little, but hint at what you could have if you were pro-British, and state what you exactly would have if you were Irish nationalist.
Yeah, I'll check out this. 42, you'll like this. This is from Gemini, which I have to reluctantly say is one of the best AIs out there at the moment. The Good Friday Agreement, signed in 1998, intentionally used constructive ambiguity. Now, if I'm right, ambiguity, amber, it comes from, I think it's Greek, but it means to move around, to lead around.
I'll give you an example. See, anything that was good for Unionists or British people, in that agreement, it was prefixed by, it is hoped that, it is envisaged that, it is hoped that there will be agreements upon parades.
Hang on. I'm not ignoring you, and I want all this. Hold it tight. I've got that wrong. It's Latin.
I can see you're thinking.
Because of ambidextrous, that's where I'm going. It actually means both.
Yeah, could go either way.
Yeah, both ways round. Let's have a look at the etymology of ambiguity. Both ways round is amazing. Etymology of ambiguity is Latin origin from ambiguitas, meaning uncertainty or double meaning, derived from meaning both there or around, and agere, meaning to drive or lead. So if you put that, well, this is what it says. So literally, ambiguous in Latin meant something like driven in both directions. Wow. Suggesting doubt, indecision, or more importantly, weirdly, Gemini's made a judgment call there, the coexistence of multiple meanings.
Right. Now, do you want to hear the really interesting bit?
Without a doubt, I do. Yeah, I just want a couple of seconds to sit on that. Because if I don't think about it, I won't learn it.
Yeah.
Ambiguous, driven in both directions. It's beautiful. Great work, 42. Carry on.
See, after they got away with writing the Good Friday Agreement like that, they did the same with all of your other fucking laws. And none of them are intended to do what they say they do. So whenever you get a law in that's an act that's supposed to prevent burglary or whatever, it will actually facilitate burglary from certain people because of the way it's written to be ambiguous.
I mean, law is kind of ambiguous anyway, isn't it? That's why you need a prosecutor and a defense. Because if law was obvious, you wouldn't need a prosecutor or a defense. You'd say, well, here it is. Yeah, it says it here. And you've done that.
Yeah, but it's in the way you write the law. Or more importantly.
That's exactly what I'm saying. If the law wasn't deliberately ambiguous, you wouldn't need a prosecutor and a defense because it wouldn't be ambiguous.
No, but the law's not ambiguous. Whenever you go and look at
42, which comes back to objective reality. So the law isn't ambiguous; it's objective. But because we need language to communicate it sacrifices some of itself to the imperfect system of language.
It could be that. Or it or it could be a policy decision to prosecute some things and others hanging off the back of it.
Oh no, without a doubt, I see what you're saying. So there's a political motivation to let's leave this open-ended so we can use it as and when it benefits
we can pick and choose.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, especially we can say we're bringing in this law for this reason, and then when it gets in, we're going to use it for that reason. We're not going to tell you that yet.
How much laws change between they're being written in the statute and being more so with policies and being actually delivered to the people is fucking amazing. You couldn't make it up.
So say that again. I mean, not because you didn't say it clearly, but I was reading something. Sorry, say it again.
The difference between how government policies are written and how legal laws are written and how they actually end up delivered due to the civil servants in the middle is fucking epic.
Right. Okay. So what is the job of the civil servants in the middle? Because they're taking written texts, I assume.
So the government introduces a law. They want to do something to reduce littering, okay? And they decide that there's going to be a fining system for people who drop litter. Then the civil servants get it, and they decide how that's going to be implemented, where that's going to be implemented. And in all of that, that's where you get laws that are pushed in Area A, but ignored in Area B. Because we've got something in the civil service that says that we do it in XYZ way. And it turns out that most of those ways are not in the best interests of the Great British Indigenous population.
Yeah, I get you, which is where we get two-tier care from.
Yeah.
Exactly. 42, I'm going to have to let you go, mate, because it's been ages.
Yes, it has.
I'm going to say it to you, and I know I always do, but let's do a stream soon.
Oh, mate, honestly, I'd love to get a good proper chat with you, and also whenever you're free and whenever you get everything sorted out, I'd love to have a chat with you offline as well.
Yeah. No, I really want that one. I really want that one.
There's a lot of shit I want to talk to you about.
I can't wait. You know what? If I ever get back over that neck of the woods, I've got to get over to your neck of the woods, and I will break my. I'll have a couple of old fashions with you. Yeah, what a night that would be, man.
Will I tell you something? See if you get yourself as far as England. If you think I'm not going to get me and Emma G over to England too, there's something wrong. If you
I want to be on your manor. I want to know that I've got armed guards. I've said too much.
If you ever manage to, if you're ever getting that far and you want to come over to Belfast, you've got somewhere to go to, and you've got people that's going to look after you.
Trust me, if I get to England, I'm going to come and see you, of course. Fascinating. I'd love to. People, show 42 some love in the chat. Not only is he a top geezer, but he puts up with such endless piss taking on my part without he just lets it happen. And that is not an easy thing to do. That is legitimate humility, and I love him.
That's called being a class, Chris. I've never went further in Factory 4, never wanted to. And you know what? See, if people are not taking the piss out of you, you've got a problem.
There you go. Yeah, that's what you meant about the working class thing that I did hear you say, even though Packer was farting or something. Look after yourself, mate. Look after your missus.
All right, bye.
A special man, 42. I don't know if any of you were around when we had our first two chats, but the things that bloke has done, like actually affected governmental change. And the things that man has done in the I'm probably going to say it wrong, but in the men's rights movement. No, there's a word he uses. He'll put it in the chat. And it's not movement. Men's rights. Yeah, I'll wait for him to put it in there because he's probably screaming at me now. It's when you you put effort in to support people. Come on, 42, help me out. No, thank you, 42. But honestly, people, John Palmer, gang. The men's rights gang. I'll probably remember it in a minute. Advocacy. Yeah, I think it's advocacy. Something like that. Blog said human decency. There you go. All right, let's get the invitation. We'll have a little break. I've got something I want to show you. So we'll have a little break. There you go. Men's rights advocate. And not just helping out someone. The geezer dedicated decades of his life to actually affecting real change. You know, we can all sit on our YouTube channels and, I don't like this shouldn't happen. And there's a place for that, for sure. But 42 has made things happen. And when he talks about talking to me offline, I already know that the geezer's done things that the rest of us wouldn't even dream about, because he there's a word, integrity. He's got integrity. He understands that he's got a life and that he's got a role. And if he can do things, he should. It's a fact. Let me see if I can find this little clip. It might have gone AWOL because I've been on a different stream. Oh, here we go.
I've got to know him quite well, Chris, and that is entirely how he operates.
There you go. So Mark Dice, as you all know, I mean, how he's still on YouTube, I don't know. I get scared of showing clips of his because he doesn't seem to give a shit anymore. I think he might. I said the other day, is he controlled opposition? I still don't really know what that means. Or has he got a very good legal team? And, he must make a fair few quid out of YouTube. And does he look at their rules and say, what can I actually get away with? Because he says things far worse is weird when we're talking ideologies, than, say, Devon Tracy. And Devon Tracy's had countless channels. Devon can't have a YouTube channel anymore. That's the end of Devon on YouTube. And that was his full-time job. But Mark Dice has been talking about, now, people. By people, I mean people at YouTube. I'm not supporting anything here. And Scrubs, this is just par for the course these days, saying things like this. I'm not supporting anything here. I'm just sharing information that's happening at the moment because they seem quite important conversations. But Mark Dice has had a very big impact in spreading the idea of what is it? I've just it's not fragility. Oh yeah, black fatigue. And what Mark Dice describes black fatigue as, everyone else, so Hispanics, Asians, whites, just sick and tired of them. That's what Mark Dice is describing black fatigue as. We're sick of the poncing. We're sick of the wanting reparations. We're sick of the 70-odd trillion that's been poured into these fatherless estates. We're sick of this. And so Mark Dice has been making a real effort of pushing this idea of black, what did I call it, Packer? I keep thinking of fragility because of that white fragility lark. Fatigue. Right. But it's really taken off. Now, what makes it interesting on TikTok, which has got its TikTok's rules, because TikTok's a bit of a psyop, you can't say some things that you're like, what the hell is wrong with saying that? But they'll let you say other things, essentially because it's an app invented to divide America and cause America problems, essentially. Allegedly, I should say. But it's really taken off. And if you go to TikTok, and now I know most of you won't go to TikTok, and I don't blame you, but if you go to TikTok and type in hashtag black fatigue, or I might have got that wrong, we'll find out in a minute. There's thousands, tens of thousands of videos of people just saying, I'm sick of it. And most of them are black people. And they're not saying they're sick of the idea. They're saying they're sick of a certain element of their community continually making them look like arseholes. So just check. I mean, this is a bit of a risk, even though this is from a YouTube channel. But sit back. Yeah, look at this. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Jemison. I'm a black person with black fatigue. Yeah, that's what's blown my mind about the TikTok videos. There's black people on there just saying, you're making us look like arseholes. There's a great video where there's a pastor in front of this church, in front of a congregation. And he says the reason people think we're whatever, he says, is because most of you are. He says you've got to start sorting your lives out. get work, get jobs, raise families. And it's like, whoa, can you say that? Because, a few years ago in England, you'd probably go to prison for that at the moment, like today. So let's have a little look at Mark Dice. And understandably, Mark Dice is sick of this stuff because it's been going on for, forever. But check out some of this stuff. It's quite something.
Oh, the entire party is crazy, from the leadership all the way down. But these are the exceptionally crazy ones. The squad. They introduced a resolution, or shall I say, reintroduced a resolution yesterday, demanding that Black people in America get free money, also known as the pipe dream of reparations.
We are in a moment of anti-Blackness on steroids, and we refuse to be silent. We will not back down in our pursuit of racial justice. The antidote to anti-Blackness is to be pro-Black, and we will do it unapologetically. The United States government owes us a debt, and we need reparations.
They're following in the footsteps of the now former squad member, Cori Bush, who lost her primary and thus her congressional seat, who back in 2023 introduced her Reparations Now resolution.
This is a historic day
of stupidity.
This is the day that we say reparations now, and we say it by way of introducing legislation into the congressional record.
Okay, we get it. And because
I mean, the thing is, I wouldn't be surprised if this goes through at some point, and we're gonna come to a situation where Asian, Hispanic, and white people with less money are going to give people with more money than them money. How do you even work? Hello, Jedi. How do you even work this out? Anyway, roll VT.
Because the mainstream media in America is a joke, instead of laughing these lunatics off stage at their press conference, they started asking them serious questions.
Has been exactly, what does your resolution really aim for? Is it that Black Americans of a certain economic level, are they being targeted? Is it everyone? So basically, it doesn't matter as to what economic level. It's pretty much all Black Americans. What about those?
So Oprah Winfrey, look at her reparations too.
Individuals of any race that have a lineage going back to slave America. It doesn't matter.
So to be very clear, whether or not a Black American, a Black descendant of American
blackity black.
chattel slavery were able to break into the middle class. They were able to do that despite the harms, despite the past injustices done to them. So they are not excluded from the
despite all the benefits, despite all the Black favoritism, especially since Barack Obama was the president.
I don't hear the Japanese that had nuclear bombs dropped on civilian targets asking for money. I don't see the hundreds of thousands of teenagers that were sent to the Battle of the Somme to be murdered at 14 and 15 years old. I don't see their families asking for money. The world has harmed a lot of people. But I just don't see this coming from anyone. Well, there is one other group, but we're not allowed to talk about them.
Over 15 years ago.
When we think about who traces their lineage back, that is, again, a debate that is used to try to silence the rest of this movement. It's a
the movement. It's a movement, all right. A bowel movement. But because we're living in an idiocracy where there are tens of millions of absolutely mindless morons who live amongst us, that the Democrat Party has to cater to in order to trick them into voting for them and keeping them in power. Back in 2020, the candidates for president all played along.
If you elected president, would you sign that bill if it came across your desk?
When I am elected president, I will sign that bill. The issue of reparations.
What's that fella's name? He is one of the worst race grifters I've ever known. I can't think of his name offhand. That geezer that just asked Kamala Harris that question. Well, yeah. I mean, Roman, you make a great point. I mean, what the Allies done to the German people after the Second World War is one of the worst horror stories you'll ever hear.
Jemison says Al Sharpton.
That's it. That's who he is. Fair play. But what happened after the Second World War when it was decided, oh, let's divide up Germany, you can have West and we'll have the East? They went through the land literally R-ing and pillaging the German people. It's a horror show. Look into it. I had to stop reading through tears. It's fucking obscene what happened to the German people. And what do they get for it? They're not allowed to say anything. They're literally, you are evil, don't say anything. Fair play to the AfD.
Well, the Germans weren't nice to the Russians when they tore through there, either, were they?
But that was during the war. This was after the war. This was meant to be like a peace treaty sort of stuff.
People.
Is a conversation among crackheads because no serious person entertains such nonsense. But speaking of billions of dollars and the black community, maybe we should send them a bill for the more than $2 billion in damage that they caused during the George Floyd riots in the summer of 2020, which dramatically increased black fatigue, which has been going viral on TikTok from people talking about it. If you missed my previous video, you definitely got to go check it out because it's not the people that you would assume would be talking about it. Many black people have even greater degrees of black.
And I tell you what, I've got so much respect for these black people who are actually speaking out about this because they will be shunned. That I wouldn't put it past them being attacked, losing their jobs, losing their communities, their friendships, their congregations, all that Uncle Tom stuff.
Black fatigue than white people. But so far, the only host who I've seen talk about it on any of the brand name conservative networks is Jason Whitlock over on The Blaze, who obviously is a black man himself because, well, also obviously the white conservative hosts are still too afraid of being called a racist by, well, admitting that they have black fatigue or even just talking about it.
Black fatigue. If you have not heard the term, if you're not on X, formerly known as Twitter, you may be unaware that this conversation is going on. But
if you haven't been subscribed to the Mark Dice YouTube channel, then you're basically living under a rock. So stay tuned because there's plenty more to come in this video. But if you are new here, be sure to subscribe because obviously you're not going to get information, analysis, and authenticity like this anywhere else.
But if you're on social media and if you understand the impact of X/Twitter and that like the Black Lives Matter movement started on Twitter, and now there's a response movement being started on Twitter.
It's not really starting on Twitter. It's just an organic feeling that we're all having. But, you know, he is kind of getting it.
And it's called black fatigue. And it is the antithesis. It is the yin to the yang of Black Lives Matter. It's white people loudly, boldly.
That's strangely unfair because it's also Latinos and Asians. I mean, the Asians I know in America say that they are terrified of the black community. That's the words I use. They're terrified of them.
Expressing their fatigue with black people.
Well, let me stop you there. It's all different races, especially black people.
There you
missed
go.
My previous video, go check it out. Expressing their fatigue with a certain kind, a subset within the black community and their behavior, their thuggery, their crimes, their rudeness. Yeah.
This is and was inevitable.
So this was a few days ago, and then he followed it up with this post yesterday, including a video showing a gang of scholars doing what they usually do, adding, "We've seen enough black fatigue videos to know there is an anti-white racism plague permeating America. Black people are being disciplined to hate white people. That's the talk that has been pervasive in too many black homes. We've poisoned young people." Yes, because the talk that really needs to be given is the one that Chris Rock gave many years ago on his HBO show, How to Not Get Your Bleep Kicked by the Police, where he showed some very simple instructions, where it basically boiled down to Just don't be an idiot if you get pulled over by the police. And the term black fatigue is starting to make headlines, but of course the fake news industrial complex is, well, spreading fake news about it with headlines like this: white TikToker hijacks term black fatigue to explain her racism.
I think I'll stop there because it's high risk and also not my content. But I think the interesting part, the most interesting part about that was when that black fella said this was inevitable. And I think you know, you know, just affirmative action alone, you know, Asians and white people and Asians and whites, I think, have to score considerably higher to get into the same universities than black people do.
It's actually, the real term is the same standard that there always was, is what they have to score.
I've missed that.
They have to get into the universities. Asians and white kids have to score the same high standards as anyone ever did that had to get in there. Up until,
right, okay, I get you.
Yeah,
I get you. And you know that it's also got that bigotry of low expectations. It's a way of saying, well, I'm sorry, but the blacks, they're not clever enough. They're not clever enough, so we've got to lower their entrance exams. You know, there's people at Yale that can't write English. I mean, just Yale this is Ivy League stuff, but because of this artificial elevation, I mean, it's a real fucking mess. I saw something the other day, and I can't remember what it was. It might have been on the Hodge twins actually, but someone said, oh no, it was on Warren Smith's thing. His tutor said to him, what are we going to do about the race problem? Because Warren Smith was arguing against affirmative action and reparations. And Warren Smith said, well, I don't think reparations and affirmative action are going to help. And he said, yeah, but there's 40,000, no, he might have said 40 million actually, black people in America that hate white people. What are you going to do about that? And that kind of its own when you look at it like that. And we know the ADL have said it's a hate term, but when 13% are causing 52% of the crime, and the numbers are the same in the UK, it is inevitable. It's gonna come a point where people are just like, can you just fucking behave? You know, life's hard enough. It's fucking hard enough. And you know, I saw a thing the other day, and there was this geezer arguing with Charlie Kirk, and he said he was going, yeah, but what about all the police killing the blacks? And he said, how many do you think it is a year? And he went, I don't know, 100,000, 200,000. And Charlie Kirk said it was something like 300. And the bloke was like, well, you know, and he said, well, are you gonna maybe reconsider your position on this, considering you thought it was like hundreds of thousands? And he said, no, because there's other things. And it was something so ridiculous. You know, the biggest cause of death of black teenagers is black teenagers. And where's the protests about that? Where's the BLM about that? No, police are killing unarmed blacks, about 1 in every 500,000. But, you know, like in Chicago, there's something like 12 shootings a week at the moment. I don't know. It is inevitable. Do
you know what kills more black Americans than anything in America? Do you know what kills more black Americans than anything in America? Anything else ever?
I'll have a guess.
Go on.
Obesity.
No.
No, go on.
Abortion.
Yeah, there you go. Of course. Yeah. There's absolutely been pushed on them. That's funny because that's pretty much what I went for as well.
Yeah.
They literally say black on black crime. They literally say black on black crime doesn't exist. It's a white supremacist that made that term up. I mean, You know, this is the problem with the left. Even when you hit them with like evidence and data, then the data's a lie. You know, and it's like you cannot win that debate. If that's what you're always going to do, no, you've made that up. You know, where did you get those statistics? From the FBI? Oh, well, if you're going to trust the FBI, where did you get that from? The Office of National Statistics. Oh, well, if you're going to believe them, where did you get your information from? Root magazine. Okay. A Black Power
CNN.
magazine. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. All right, what's the time? It's 10 to 4.
Neck. What's the name?
The bird with the giraffe neck. Oh,
Yeah,
God,
on,
Richard Maddow.
Yeah, that's yeah.
That's him. Yeah. Good Lord. Right, people, it's now 10 to 4 in the morning. I've been going for 2 hours. Blog says trans, the lot of them. That's nice. That's nice. I think you'll find that's happening to the white community somewhat more. People, it's been a great show. The grift hasn't been so good, but I think that's how it's going to be until Keir Starmer leaves and people can start getting some money again. Right, hang on. I know what we're going for. I've already picked it. We had Lovers of the World at the beginning. Give me a couple of seconds. Where is it? That'll do. Pause that. Packer, I'm going to let you go. Another lovely one. People, I might not stream tomorrow because the missus is only away for a few days and I'm getting like 10,000 words a day written. I mean, that's what I'm going to do now. After I finish this stream, add something to eat. It'll probably be about 4 in the morning. I'll start writing and I won't stop till midday. And I'll sleep all Saturday afternoon and I won't give a fuck because I've been working my ass off all week. So, Packer, I'll let you go, mate. Thank you very much for coming. I might see you tomorrow. I might see you Sunday. But if not, have a good weekend and I'll talk to you soon.
I'll keep my eye out and I'll see you when I see you. Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Nice one, mate.
Cheers, Rob.
Ta-da. Give Packer some love in the chat, people. He's a diamond. Matt, do you remember the show without him? Weird, wasn't it? Like this. What? But just with my head a bit bigger like that. I don't know. But give him some love. He's a great fella. Hello, Mr. Bontoft. I didn't know. Yeah, I think we've had a good one tonight. It's been a different one. We've had some ups and downs. We've had some interesting chats. I've already racked one up, Spanish, but I'll tell you what, I promise you, if you remind me, next stream, I'll play it. All right? I've already got something racked up. But next stream, I promise I'll play it. Anyone new here, lovely to see you. I'm going to get some more standalone videos made this week. The reason I was making one a day, wasn't I, for about 3 weeks. Got loads of new subscribers, but then I started writing this. It was only meant to be a short story, and it's now a novel that might save my life. So I've got to stay in the flow state while I'm in the flow state. But I will get back to some standalone videos, probably starting tomorrow. Because if I'm not streaming tomorrow, I can get a video made. Anyway, thank you to Packer, of course. Thank you to everyone who donated. If anyone donated over on Buy Me a Coffee, I'll get your... Fuck me. Brick Dictator's dropped 25 quid in. He said, here's your reparations for what George Washington did to you. Fair play, Brick Dictator. Oh, Brick Dictator, do you know we've got the Scrubs wall? Do you know about that? For 20 quid, you can get your anything you want, as long as it's not too long, etched into one of the bricks on the house that I'm building out in the province. I've got a list of people who've already done it here. But what I'd like to say is, because you didn't know about that before that donation, it will require another one. Thank you for that, mate. Much appreciated. And I'll have a look on the old Buy Me a Coffee in a minute. And thanks for the George Washington reparations. That's a great call. Joking aside, Brick Dictator, if you want to get on the Scrubs wall, just send me a message, send me an email, let me know what you want, Brick D or something, and I'll get that done. Of course I will. Here we go, people. Your friend of mine. Press that. I want to thank all the guests who come on. We didn't have many, did we? What was it, 2 in the end? but they were 2 good ones, so no complaints. Quality over quantity. Here we go, people. Your friend of mine, they tried to put him out of business, and he's bigger than ever. It's your friend of mine, Alex Jones. Ta-da!
System, the company store, the paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just out here doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murder scum. They're on giant death factories keeping babies alive, selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we wanna eat babies. I have them on video. Hillary's in the creepy, weird, sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same room with that creepy, weird woman whose mother wears a hood.
Cheers, Packer. Nice one, Albert.
That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man.
Nice one, Albert.
I told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur. Literal vampire pot and goblins.
Thank you very much.
Hobbling round, coming after us. My spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go. We're such self-centered crap. We don't even notice and it's rising up against us. Millions of pointed people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stab your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife, your son. We're gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, we love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so good, oh, they're so sweet. I was watching Fox News as I worked out this morning.
You know what? So was I. I mean, it's absolutely peculiar. Can you even see me? What the hell's going on here? They're really. I tell you what, they're really trying to get 80 quid a month out of me. These bastards. It ain't gonna happen. I'm gonna learn how to use OBS, people. It's time to drop this. The amount of buttons I have to click just to get, and it still ain't worked. Why ain't I on the screen? That'll have to do. Hello. There you go, people. So it was 42. Amazing. So yeah, listen, people. We've had a few people donate memberships, but if you don't know, you have to have it. You have to have your YouTube channel set up to accept those free memberships. And so when someone donates free memberships, like we did have just then, excuse me, like Albert just gave, if you haven't got your box ticked, you can't get one. And it's quite good having one because you get the little, and I will make some new of the little things. And I might actually do a little, you know, like that live I done earlier where I had a little walk up and down the Horse Street. I might do a few more of them for members only because the members are very kind and generous, and I will actually do something for them. But make sure you've ticked the box to accept them because YouTube randomizes it. And if you can't accept it, then you don't get your month's membership. And I will actually make that something worth having soon. A Prasha Cuckoo. Listen to my voice. Good Lord. Look after yourself, Emma. Talk to you all soon later. Look after yourselves. I might see you over the weekend. If not, you'll definitely get a video. Hoi ta.